Alright guys, in this tutorial I'll cover the basics of how to use the terrain tools, the wall and to stair height ratios, the leveling with the foundation and the walls, and we'll put it all together and add stairs to it. The cheats you need are on the screen, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this is a review for those of you who have never played this game before for some reason. Now, the tool that I'm using right now is the raise tool. It obviously raises the terrain, and the next one is the lowering tool, which will bring the terrain down towards it, lower than the level that it's on. Next, this button will smooth the terrain out so it gets rid of the hard edges. And the next tool I'll use will be to level the ground out. This tool, instead of just bringing it back to the ground level, it'll actually bring it to whatever level you start on, as in if you're below the level like this, it'll bring the ground down. Alright, and continuing on, the next tool I'll use is the flatten tool. This flattens an entire lot, that way it brings it back to an even plane, that way you can build on it. And the next tool is obviously the pawn tool. I've done a tutorial on that before, so if you want to see that, look in the link, the description below for the link. Okay, now we're going to get into the wall to stair height ratio, and this may not seem too important right now, but you're going to need it later, especially when you start leveling out your houses and when you do hills and stuff like that. Now, the first one is regular split leveling, bringing it down with 3 stairs, and you have 1 level, which is a fourth of a wall, which will bring you to 1 space for this 1 stair. Now, when you go to the next one, you'll see that I'm only going to bring it down to half a wall, which is 2 stairs down, which will bring it to a obviously half wall, which will bring the stairs out to 2 spaces. If one thing you need to know about this is if you're going to level your houses out, you're going to want to know how much space in front of the house itself you're going to need clearance. So if you're going to do a half wall, obviously you're going to need 2 spaces. Now moving on to the third one, I'm only going to bring it down to 1 stair level, which will bring it at 3 stair height on the wall, which of course will bring it out to a section where you need 3 spaces in front of the walls in order to put your stairs for clearance. And of course, next, at a full height wall, you're going to use 4 stairs, and you're going to need 4 space clearance. Alright, let's work on the leveling. On a flat part of your lot, draw a full wall. Across from that, use the raise tool and raise the land. And you can raise it high as you need to, because once you put the foundation on top of it, like this, you're going to use go to the terrain tools, choose the flattening tool, and then drag from the wall to the foundation. And that is going to bring the foundation down to your wall height. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take the foundation tool and you're going to drag the tool out from the foundation, and that will go through the hill and bring other parts of it down also. Now it's at full height, so you can add doors and windows to the foundation. Now what you want to do is you want to draw the walls in a square, so that you can use the raise tool and raise the ground, the terrain, under the walls so that it looks like a hill is around the walls. Next, you take the flattening tool and you flatten those walls out so that it looks as if the walls are inside of the hill. As you can see, you can look inside the walls and you'll see the hill is actually raised inside, and you don't really want that. Okay, so now what we want to do, we are going to use the flattening tool and we're going to flatten inside. And the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to go directly to the walls with that, because it will bring the hill on the outside down, and you want the hill to look up on the outside of the wall because you want the walls to look like it's going into the hill. What you want to do is you want to go 1 space away from the walls and flatten it. That way the sharp angle is against the wall and the hill on the outside is still up. The next thing you want to do is you want to take your wall tool. You can even, by the way, completely raise it again, and if you don't like what your house looks like on the outside, and then reflatten the surface. That way your hill is the way you want it before you finish editing. The next thing, of course, is to grab the wall tool and hide those sharp angles. Now you won't be able to put windows in, of course, but of course you can put in a door, except for on the flat part of the wall. Because once you block off those angles, it's just going to look weird to have windows in there and just facing another wall. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put all of this information together. We got a flat terrain, we have a full-size wall, and we have the foundation. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up the foundation. Yes, now you can add doors and windows and whatnot, but your Sims actually won't want to use the inside the foundation. See, as you can see, I'm adding doors now, and you can even add windows and whatnot. But like I said, the Sim will not use what's inside the foundation. What you want to do now is you want to delete part of the foundation. The way I'm doing it now is going to be seen the difficult way, but the point of this is when you build your walls and you build the foundation back on the outside of it, is going to add an extra one space. So the spacing that you're going to use the walls in is going to be different than what you're actually planning. And as you can see right now, I'm deleting parts of the foundation, and I'm going to add a wall in. And once I finish putting these walls in, which will be soon, hang on one second. Okay, walls are done. So I'm going to add the foundation back to the house, and what's going to happen is at first it's going to bring it back down, but of course you can always re-level it. And as you can see, it's adding one extra space to the outside of the house, and that can be a pain, especially if you have something planned. You might have to replan it. So it takes time and practice to get used to this, but it's fairly easy once you figure out what you're doing. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is going to re-level this foundation so that it's at the wall height. As you can see, if you look on the inside of the walls, it's actually the gray color of the wall instead of the actual foundation. This means that the Sim, if you have stairs going down into this above ground basement, that's what I usually call it, the Sim will actually go in there and use it, versus if you just have the foundation. Like I said before, it's really a pain in the ass. I'm sorry, it's just difficult. Okay, so what I'm going to do next now is to raise the terrain that's under the foundation. And if you go to the terrain tools, of course, and then grab the raise tool, you can raise the terrain right under your foundation, and then once you do that, of course, it's going to re-level it out. And as you can see, as it raises, it's going to make the top of the foundation look kind of weird, but it's going to be just fine. It's just going to look like the foundation is actually going into the ground. And if you look on the inside of the foundation, you'll see the terrain is raising inside too, and we'll fix that in a minute. And now we're going to re-level the foundation one more time, and it's going to look as though the foundation is going inside of the terrain itself. On the inside, of course, you see that the hill is up inside. The terrain has risen. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the flatten tool, and we're going to flatten that whole area out. And believe it or not, because of the foundation is outside of the regular wall, it's not going to interfere with the hill on the outside of it. So you can go all the way to that wall and flatten it out, and you won't have any problems, of course, except for flattening the foundation. Again, it takes a long time to get used to this if you're not used to it. If this is the first time you ever tried to raise the terrain and build a house inside of it, this right here is basically the easiest way to learn how to do it. Of course, you can develop your own methods, but you know, this right here is the way I learned to do it. Okay, so once again, reflatten out the top of your foundation, and don't worry about those gaps because the floor will still work. It just looks weird because it's a game glitch. Now the last step we're going to do is we're going to add stairs. I'm going to grab the raise tool, raise the terrain up under the foundation so it's at a ridiculous height, and then I'm going to reflatten it so that the ground, of course, is going to be leveled out to where I need it for at least one stair. Now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the terrain out away from the foundation, and we're going to add stairs from here. Now it gets a little tricky sometimes, and there's no surefire way to make sure the stairs are where you want them. You just have to play around with them. Like right now, it's fairly easy to go from the foundation to the ground, and this is what I was talking about earlier, knowing what's the height, so with the ratio of where the stairs are going to be. Like right now at the top is only 1 because the ground is level out, but if you play around with the stairs, of course, it can be kind of tricky, like I said. But here we are to the point where I finally got the stairs where I want them, and as you can see, there is a bit of an edge around the stairs itself. Once the camera turns, that is, you can see it. Okay, the best way to hide that will be like you're doing a retaining wall. You can add rocks, you can add plants and trees if you want, like this, and it will cover that edge of the stairs so it just doesn't look weird. That and the ground looks kind of, you know, that funky looking edge on the ground itself. Also, you can use the foundation tool, and that actually works a lot better and it's a lot easier. As you can see right here, that hides the edge of the stairs, and if you choose to drag it all the way around, you can hide the edge of the land. Okay guys, that's it for this tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments, of course leave in the comments section below, and if you want, you can actually make a response video to this. If I missed something, if you have an easier method of using this, then leave a response video. And once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.